me down, I ain't going out. As the culture turns, you gotta figure it out. They see you getting it poppin', they gon' try and come around. I be down to go out like and keep a live round. In the blick, get you hit. Bitch, we gon' get you first. Don't get caught up in the mix. Better watch out for that blitz. Can't deny that I'm lit. You can't deny that I'm lit.
Can't deny that I'm lit. Gotta ride with your blick. Fuck watching for the option. Be the cops to get you hit. I just right up off the porch. Mama said stay up out the mix. Niggas up when I was broke. They left me down on my dick.
All right, what's up? Welcome to Jameer with the Journalism. And no, I'm not a journalist, but I got that journalism. Presented to you by As the Culture Turns. Now, before I get into everything, please, I want to make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel to stay tuned for more content just like this. All right, y'all. So on today's docket, we will be discussing these two. Who is Halle Bailey and DDG? All right, so as y'all have noticed, there has been a lot going on in the news in regards to these two. So DDG's temporary restraining order request against Halle Bailey has been denied. Halle is free to leave the country with their child for business or personal reasons. Halle Bailey has filed to deny DDG's request and instead grant her permission to take their son out of the country so she can work. Halle is also requesting orders to stop DDG and his family and friends to stop posting about their son, this litigation, and Halle on all platforms. Halle also points out that DDG waited until today, which was June 4th, to file a request to block her from traveling and ask for new custody orders, when he and his attorneys have ignored all of her efforts for him to have monitored visits with their son since the issuance of the restraining order on May 13th of 2025. All right, so DDG has filed an emergency motion to stop Halle Bailey from taking her infant son out of the country, claiming she poses an imminent emotional and psychological risk to the child. So when he filed this, it was on Wednesday, asking for the emergency hearing because he says Halle has made plans to fly with their son, HALLE, to Italy on Saturday. DDG continues and says that the court shouldn't allow this because Halle isn't mentally healthy enough to care for herself and their child, and he worries about what she might do if she leaves the court's jurisdiction. DDG provides examples of alleged conduct he thinks is troubling, claiming Halle once took his gun and left the house without telling him where she was going. DDG alleges he ultimately found her outside just holding the weapon. He says she was pregnant when the incident went down. He alleges Halle once tried to have an abortion behind his back, but says she ultimately changed her mind and decided to not go through with it. Then he continues because he says on another occasion, 2 months after HALLE was born, DDG claims Halle sent a series of alarming text messages threatening to kill herself and suggesting that their infant son HALLE might also be harmed. So that was a lot of what he had put into his filing. And then he also went on to say that he was actually on the receiving end of abuse by Halle, including photos of a large cut on his hand in the docks, which he says was caused by Halle. All right, so let me show that picture right there. So this is the picture of the alleged bruise that he said, or the cut that he said that Halle had did to him. So because of that and different things, DDG is asking the judge to block Halle from taking HALLE to Italy. He also wants sole legal and physical custody of their son. Or if he's not granted sole custody, then he wants all custodial exchanges facilitated by a third party. All right, so this had hit social media and a lot of people had opinions about it. So I want to show what some people think and then we will continue to discuss. So the first comment I have, it says, this proves the evidence only made him look more in the wrong. Next, it says, bro said, wait, I got messages from 3 years ago. This should work, with the laughing emoji. And then the final comment I got, it says, people should notice Halle has only talked to the judge, LOL. DDG trying to turn social media. That last comment I definitely agree with, because what is happening is the fact that he is trying to get he's trying to sway the public's perception of what is going on. That's why he put out those text messages, that photo, and that's why it's a lot of people who are actually speaking out against this as well, like his mother and some friends. I'll show that video later. That video later in regards to the friend. So this all comes after weeks after HALLE was granted temporary physical and legal custody of HALLE in May, following allegations that DDG had physically and emotionally abused her. So she had mentioned that they were in a car and that he had banged her head against the steering wheel. So I got a picture of the alleged chipped tooth that she said it cost her. So she said that when he banged her head on the steering wheel, this right here resulted in that chipped tooth. You know, it's not quite chipped like Fabulous tooth, but you know, a little chip nonetheless. So that order also required him to stay over 100 yards away from both her and their son. The temporary restraining order expired on June 4th, the date of the scheduled court hearing. So Halle Bailey in her earlier filing requested that DDG not be granted any visitation. However, she later requested supervised visits, limiting them to 6 hours weekly in Los Angeles with a professional monitoring company. She also asked the court to prevent DDG from taking HALLE outside of LA County. Neither party has publicly commented on the latest legal filings. The former couple began dating in 2022 and split in 2024. Now, this is the other part, because again, this goes back to DDG trying to sway the public's perception of this whole case. So people like his mother, Tanya Granberry, has come to her son's defense, claiming that Halle Bailey used air tags to track her son during their relationship. So court documents show that DDG submitted images proving Halle allegedly used multiple hidden air tags to track his movements, according to reports from the Shade Room. In his mother's declaration, Tanya reportedly identified 4 air tags that were secretly placed in DDG's car and home. The first air tag was allegedly discovered in June 2023 in DDG's Maybach, with Tanya claiming it was uncovered after Bailey showed up and invited to the movie theater while DDG was with a female friend. So the mother also claimed that the Little Mermaid star made threats to F DDG up and attempted to physically fight the woman he was out with. But that's weird. If that happened at a movie theater, I would think that there would be some image or some footage of that out there. But I digress. These new claims come as DDG has filed for a restraining order against Halle, talking about he is concerned about their 1.5-year-old son, HALLE's safety. He also alleges that she has exhibited troubling behavior, including taking his gun. Well, I already talked about that, so we ain't gonna get into that. So DDG's lawyer, Larry Backman, backed up his client's claims. Terry Levitch Ross, an attorney for Halle, said the rapper's claims are inaccurate, according to Billboard. As DDG is trying to block his ex-girlfriend from bringing their child out of the country, a judge could issue a decision on her upcoming travel plans by the end of the week. As we said in the beginning, the judge had actually ruled against DDG and permitted Halle to go to Italy. And this is the part that gets me, because she is literally going to Italy to film a movie called Italiana with Ray Jean Pierre. That was the guy that was in the series Bridgerton. So she's literally going out there for a business. So the fact that he is trying to stop her money, to me, is him being petty, because she is obviously the main provider of their son. You know, I'm pretty sure that she has the son most of the time. So for him to try to stop this is him trying to stop her bag. And I just feel like DDG has been jealous of Halle for the longest. I feel like he looked at her as a come up. That's why I felt like he got her pregnant. And then after that, even, you know, in some of his music that I never listened to, but I saw some of the lyrics, he expressed being jealous of her having to do things such as kiss her on-screen love interest for movies. And he talked about being jealous and everything. So I just feel as though that it's more than him wanting custody of his son. It's more than him thinking that she is not mentally capable to take care of their son in Italy. I think he is really trying to control her, and he is trying to use Halo to control her. That is my opinion. That is my thoughts, and that's what I think about the entire situation. Now, I want to get to the part because, as I stated, his mother has spoken out, and now his friend has spoken out. So I want to pull this up on the screen right here of the friend speaking out about the alleged air tags being put in the car or whatever. So let me get this started real quick.
We pulled over. We pulled over on the side of the motherfucking road. We like, bro, somebody tracking us. Listen, we like, bro, somebody is tracking us, bro. We is not safe. Somebody is tracking us. We in the car, bro. Where that motherfucker at? Where that motherfucker at? You feel me? We like, what? Bro, somebody out there tagging this truck, bro. If it ain't me, it ain't you. Bro, when did you park the car at? We outside, listen, we outside the truck like this. Looking up under the truck like, you feel me? Did somebody glue this motherfucker? You know what I'm saying? Bro, like this.
All right, so that was the video of Baby Rich. I guess he's some streamer or whatever, explaining an incident where they allegedly found an air tag. Now, I can't speak to whether that's true or not, but what I can say is that Baby Rich, you might want to get out of their domestic dispute, because if things were to get back cool with them, she is going to always remember that you inserted yourself in something that did not involve you. Now, as much as the mom should mind her business, I understand why the mom is speaking out. And DDG's brother also spoke out and got emotional on the stream, saying that Halle Bailey is trying to paint him in a negative narrative. I understand why the brother is speaking out, because that is his brother. However, I also think that DDG need to make sure that these extras are not speaking out, because he may think this is helping him. And even if it is helping him from a public perception, it is not helping you in the courts. The judge, I'm pretty sure, does not want all of this extra stuff being put out there in the media in regards to the situation. And that is something that Halle has requested. She does not want him, the friends, or the family talking about this situation. And I agree with her. Handle it in the courts and see where it goes from there. But I do not think that this is a good strategy for DDG, being as though that we don't see Halle Bailey's sister Chloe speaking out. We don't see her mother speaking out. We don't see her brother speaking out. We don't see Beyonce speaking out because she signed to Beyonce. We don't see any of that. She is doing it the right way. Now, I can't sit here and say that, who abused who. A part of me feel like, they might have just been in a toxic relationship and there was abuse on both sides. I do feel like that could be a case, because I feel like when he put out the picture of the alleged cut and she put out the picture of the chipped tooth, from my knowledge or the public knowledge, they didn't leave each other after those particular incidents. So like most relationships, people go through things. People have all types of abuse, whether it's physical or emotional. God forbid it's sexual abuse, but y'all get the picture. So yeah, that would be my advice to DDG. Like, keep your family and friends out of this situation, because this is something that you need to handle in court. And DDG know damn well he do not want sole custody of that baby. He know damn well he don't. He just is trying to fight back, and he knows that that is something that is going to hurt Halle Bailey. That's my opinion on the situation. But I just feel as though that Halle should not be in the news for stuff like this. Halle had everything set up for her for success. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to continue to make her successful or that this will affect her career. I just feel as though that DDG wanted this come up, and he is doing a lot of this to try to taint her image and to paint her in a negative light, kind of like what Tory Lanez did to Megan Thee Stallion in regards to that case. Even though Megan Thee Stallion won in court, it feels as though that Tory Lanez won by public perception. You know, that's my opinion on that for sure. So again, hopefully they can come to a resolution because at the end of the day, they are stuck together. They had to raise this son together. And this was a picture of them in their happier times, you know. So of course, I hope that they could come together in regards to Halo and think about him in the long run, you know, because this was them in happier times, and this is now her and Halo alone, you know. So those are my thoughts on it. This is something that I feel like I'll keep on following all the way up into the hearing. And I am glad that the judge allowed her to take the son because she needs to go work. Come on, DDG, like stop. Stop. So that's my thoughts on the whole situation. Let me know what y'all think down below in the comments. Whose side is y'all on? Are y'all on DDG's side or on Halle's side? What are your thoughts on everything being played out on social media? And what are your thoughts on him trying to block her from going to Italy for business? All right. So in the meantime, again, I would like to remind y'all to please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. And also, you can follow us on Instagram at As The Culture Turns. You can also follow me on Facebook at As The Culture Turns. And you can also follow me personally at Jameer with 3 underscores. And again, as I always say, this has been Jameer with the journalism. And no, I'm not a journalist, but I got that journalism.